Today on Fresno State Focus, see how one man is giving to his community. With faith, hope, and food, he's helping empower Fresno's large homeless population.
One woman is doing the same, but with abandoned and abused dogs. See how giving love to a pair of pit bulls is helping support a whole dog-loving community.
Plus, we show you how going tiny is a new big thing when it comes to homes. Our special Global News Relay edition of Fresno State Focus starts now.
Hello and welcome to our Fresno State Focus. I'm Adeline Quintana.
And I'm Katie Gogo. We begin with controversy here at Fresno State.
The university is responding after an English professor tweeted about the death of former First Lady Barbara Bush, calling her racist.
Rhonda Gerard is an author and Fresno State professor. She took to Twitter calling Mrs. Bush an amazing racist, suggesting that Bush created a war criminal. She later tweeted, "I'm happy the witch is dead and can't wait for the rest of the family to fall to their demise." Fresno State President Castro released a statement saying the tweets were made by a private citizen and do not represent Fresno State. Students are reacting as well.
But I do think that she has a right to voice her opinion, though. I mean, she didn't say anything that was too destructive or anything that was life-threatening or endangering anybody. And I feel like it does say in our Constitution we have the right to speak what we want, whether people agree with it or not.
Provost Lynette Zalesny says these actions do not represent the values of Fresno State. The professor's tweets went viral. Many national news outlets are covering this story as well, especially after Gerard boasted about her salary and tenure, saying her job was not in jeopardy. At this point, we do not know if Gerard will face any disciplinary action. She is not teaching any classes this semester, but she is hosting a literary festival in Fresno this weekend. Fresno State professor Douglas Fraley is an expert in the First Amendment and freedom of expression. He joins us now to talk about Professor Gerard's tweet and whether she is protected by the First Amendment. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
So when this came out, what was your initial reaction?
Well, I was surprised, but not totally shocked, because unfortunately this is the political climate that we live in, and people often express their viewpoints using very harsh language.
Right. And she is a tenure professor, so under what conditions could she be in trouble for this?
Well, there's a lot of protection to tenured faculty members, and the First Amendment protects quite a bit of speech which is issued in somebody's capacity as a private citizen, rather than, say, classroom speech or speech as part of a university program. And so the fact that speech is highly offensive, the fact that speech is contradictory to social norms for how we usually speak right after a person has deceased, these are not typically rationales for taking away somebody's free speech rights. Instead, under the First Amendment, the solution, if you disagree, is to speak out. And indeed, we've seen a lot of speaking out in response to these tweets. President Castro and others in the Fresno State community have issued statements disagreeing with elements of what Professor Gerard has said, and certainly there have been a lot of very robust responses in the social media community as well.
Right, so you mentioned about her being a private citizen, but she did tag President Castro in her tweet. So what determines whether she's a private citizen at this, because she tagged him?
Well, that's a really interesting question. I could make that an exam question in my freedom of speech class, because there's not really a case that's been decided yet about if you just hashtag something in a tweet, if that converts something into public speech. Also, the fact that it's on a private Twitter page rather than at something associated with the campus would be another factor that the court would have to look at. But social media is evolving so fast that we don't have a lot of the same details about exactly how free speech cases might work as contrasted to in traditional media that MCJ majors might have studied in their media law class.
Right. Well, Fresno State isn't we had a professor a couple months ago who did tweet about Trump as well. So what is that in correlation to what just happened today or yesterday?
It's a similar case in the sense that this is speech that a lot of people would find highly offensive, but that doesn't fit any of the exceptions to the First Amendment, even though it's very controversial, and it certainly can create difficulties responding to it on campus, even if it's protected by the First Amendment. It's certainly, become a big issue that people have had to spend a lot of time on here.
Well, in his case, he actually lost his job. So what are the consequences for Gerard that could possibly be coming out of this?
I am not necessarily going to agree with the fact that he has lost his job, and I don't know on the air how much I can talk about employment decisions. A lot of that is confidential, so
Right.
I can't say too much, but it's not apparent that he necessarily has lost his job, so I can't really comment on that.
Right. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us about this today.
Thank you very much.
We've been talking with Dr. Douglas Fraley, an expert in the First Amendment and freedom of expression.
The nation is remembering the former First Lady for her spunk, her grit, and her grace. Barbara Bush was 92 and was only the second woman in American history to have had a husband and son elected president. The public is invited to pay their respects as she lays in repose at St. Martin's Church in Houston this Friday. Her funeral on Saturday is private.
With the homeless population in Fresno, one of the highest in California, finding ways to help can sometimes be daunting. But big hearts are out there on the street lending a hand to those in need.
Over 200 sandwiches and 500 drinks. This is the job for one Fresno man and his team of volunteers. Darrell Brown's real job is a personal trainer, but he decided he wanted to make a change in the homeless community.
I just want to give back. I feel like if you have it, you should. Because if I was down and out, I would want somebody to give back to me as well.
Brown's personal connection with the homeless is another reason why he did this. That reason being the possibility of seeing his own family.
It hurts. It's strange, it's crazy, because we all grew up kind of the same, but just one wrong decision would change everything.
So Brown packed up the truck, and the next morning, he and his team went to Tent City, where for many, the sidewalk is considered home.
Did you get a grade area, sir? Hey. There you go. Yep, here you go. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day.
Some choose to be here, whereas others don't have that choice. Whether it's escaping one harsh reality to go to another, to them, this is where they call home.
People go through hard times. You never know what someone has gone through, and you always want to help as much as you can, but sometimes you just got to give us what you got.
We're all humans. We all, each person out here has merit in their lives. They do mean something, and they are somebody. They could be somebody's mother, father, son, or daughter, but a lot of them are here not by choice, but by circumstance. Some are here running from abusive relationships, men and women. Some are here chasing the drugs. Some are here because they think it's an easy way to make money on the people that are suffering, and it's not right.
Regardless of the circumstance, Brown had one thing in mind: to make an impact.
Hopefully, they'll try to eat a little better, be a little healthier, be a little cleaner, and you never know who you're gonna touch. So hopefully it touches someone.
All it took was one bag of food and one drink to make a change on their lives.
Next time I'm gonna make like 500 sandwiches though. For sure.
Brown says he plans to continue to give back and is hoping to gather a team at least once a month to help him help others. That was such an amazing story to cover. I met some incredible people.
Yeah, that was a lot of sandwiches.
It definitely was.
A state panel killed a California Senate bill that would have helped ease the state's housing crisis. About 2 million families in California spend more than half their income on rent, with an average home in the state costing $500,000. When you factor in housing costs, California has the highest poverty rate in the U.S. State Senator Scott Wiener says there's a shortage of about 4 million homes in the state. The bill would have allowed 5-story apartment buildings to be built near the transit centers. California's Central Valley has a lot of rescue shelters for dogs and cats, but there are more animals in homes right now. Mitzi Cardenas introduced us to a woman who made her home a shelter when she found 2 pit bulls that were abused.
Good boy. Many people would think twice about adopting pit bull puppies in need, but Michelle and her sister decided to give these dogs a second chance.
I decided to rescue these dogs because at that time I felt like they were all I had. They were starving and being abused, so I decided to take matters into my own hands and just take them in as my own.
Instead of seeing a breed that many fear, Michelle just saw 2 dogs in need.
Pit bulls are honestly really sweet dogs. They're really loving and just all around just nice dogs. I know they have a bad reputation, but they're honestly great dogs to adopt.
Ronan.
Well, we've both always grown up as being animal lovers, so when she told me that she wanted to rescue these puppies, I was definitely on board. Having never owned a pit bull, I was a little nervous, but then having them and owning them, I've realized that they are amazing dogs, and I wouldn't trade my dog for anything in the world.
Although many fear pit bulls, Michelle and her sister are not the only ones taking care of them. Bully Rescue and Singer are also helping pit bulls out in need.
So that's why we exist, is to give that specific breed a second chance.
Bully Rescue has been helping pit bulls and bully breeds find forever homes since 2008.
Well, I think adoption for people's pets in general is really important, just because you're rescuing an animal, you're giving an animal a second chance. But pit bulls we focus on primarily because they're the most overpopulated in shelters, they're the most misunderstood.
Whether it's a pit bull or any other breed, there are 7 shelters in Fresno. You might just find a dog you love.
Ronan, come on, come play with me. Act like you love me.
Mitzi Cárdenas, Fresno State Focus.
Fresno's Chaffee Zoo is home to nearly 40 species that are either endangered or extinct in the wild.
And caring for those animals takes an army of highly skilled people, like Erica Polanco, who is a zookeeper at the Chaffee Zoo. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
So who is this little guy?
So this guy is a sugar glider. They are native to Australia. They are part of the marsupial family. He is full grown. This is Ricky. He's about 10 years old.
Oh. And how do you care for this little guy?
So every day we feed them, we maintain their home, and he is part of our education program. So he's an animal ambassador, so he can go out to schools and kids can learn about him. And so he's an important animal at the zoo.
So he's not part of the endangered species list?
No, he is not. He's of a least concern, so they are not endangered. But yeah, we at the zoo, we do have several species that are endangered. So
how does his habitat look like?
They would live in trees. So just anywhere, they're very popular. You can see them all over in Australia, so anywhere in the trees.
How many of these little guys is there at the zoo?
We only have 2.
Oh, okay.
So father and son.
So what is the process to save wild animals and get them into the zoo?
So we have different, so we get them, we have the SSP, which is Species Survival Plan, and so that helps breed endangered or threatened animals. Mm-hmm. So it's a whole process. There's one person in charge for like all the tigers in all the zoos in the United States, mm-hmm. and so they plan specifically for genetic to maximize the genetic diversity, and so they'll say this tiger matches this tiger, they can breed, and so if we have a tiger at our zoo and it's a female, someone has a male at another zoo, then we will get them in, and if it's approved to breed, we'll get that tiger in, and so they can hopefully breed and have. Nice. So it's a whole long process.
Right. I can only imagine. Well, thank you so much for everything that you guys do over the zoo and taking care of these animals.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We've been talking with Erica Polanco with the Chaffee Zoo. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
It.
Coming up, we continue our focus on where and how people find shelter. Sometimes the best shelter comes in the smallest packages. Jessie Tejeda shows us the growing trend of tiny homes.
But some call the streets their home. I'll show how they are getting support for their body and soul at the Portable Rescue Mission as our focus on shelter continues.
Success. At Fresno State, it's no secret. It's discovering new ways to change our world. It's creating opportunities as diverse as our community itself. It's in the distinction of our graduates as they lead us into the future. Success is no secret at Fresno State. It's our mission.
This is our Fresno State, forming relationships and learning experiences that last a lifetime, making friends who are like family, learning from professors who treat us like family, and earning a degree to make a better future for our family. Nice. Engaging our alumni generation by generation by generation. This is our Fresno State. Welcome to the family.
It's a rough road for people who are released from prison and don't have any financial or emotional support. The good news is there is a place that does not turn anyone away. I went to the Portable Rescue Mission to see how it's done.
This is the Portable Rescue Mission, where people come together for faith, friends, and community. This is the first time Ricky is a part of a positive community. Before coming here, it was drugs and jail.
Giving me shelter, food, but the most important thing that they've given me is they've given me enough time and advice to get my life back together.
He wants to go back to school and help others like he was helped here.
Foundation that I needed to deal with my personal issues.
Esther Ramirez is the pastor and director of the Portable Rescue Mission, a shelter for both the body and soul.
It's a shelter as well as a life recovery program. So, and we do have a dorm. We housed up to 12 men. It's a 12-bed facility.
Some of these men are working towards getting their life back on track. No one is turned away.
Families to reconnect again. Because, you know, when you deal with, talking about the addiction, when you deal with the addiction, the life recovery program, you know, a lot of times is all those family ties are broken. So then that starts, you know, when we start working on restoring these relationships with their families.
This is Esther's calling, to not judge people, but to give hope and faith to those who lost it.
My faith in this ministry is like really strong.
The Portable Rescue Mission is more than a place that helps people. It's home for some, filled with love, hope, and faith.
For a long time. Yeah. And then I did things in my life.
The Portable Rescue Mission is a nonprofit and Christian-based organization. It's expanding with dorms for women who have been released on parole.
What an incredible organization.
Yeah, it's so sweet. You know, no one is turned away. I loved it.
Right. With housing costs skyrocketing in many parts of the nation, some people are downsizing. Jesse Tejeda tells us about a family-owned company in Fresno that builds tiny homes.
Living large is out of style. Tiny homes are a thing, and they're popping up everywhere. If you look too quick, you might miss one. The average home in the U.S. is a little over 2,000 square feet, but these tiny homes size up at a whopping 300 to 400 square feet. For Jason Engelbright, tiny homes became a family business for him and his wife. KJE, named after their son, builds the homes right here in Fresno.
It's kind of a smaller house, like the title says. It works out for people that are, don't have as much money. Works out for, living in smaller places. They're energy efficient.
Many people are turning to tiny homes for shelter because of the affordability.
Cost of home and cost of property nowadays is rising, so it's a little more cost efficient, if you will.
Here at KJE, it takes a lot of work to build tiny homes. All of them start off as a simple trailer like this, but have an end result of a beautiful home like this. A beautiful home at a really low price. For tiny home builders, that's what the tiny home movement is all about.
I think it's a great thing for the economy. I also think it's a great thing for our earth. It's just trying to help people that don't make a lot of money and be able to own their own home.
Making a difference one home at a time, tiny homes could be the key alternative you're looking for. Jesse Tejeda, Fresno State Focus.
KJE employees are working on new homes and projects at their shop in Fresno. Look for them online and on Facebook.
Coming up on Fresno State Focus, how jazz, a beautiful spring day in hobnobbing with President Joseph Castro helps Fresno State's radio station and winemaking students.
Plus, we'll show you who made a surprise visit to the spring football scrimmage and how the dogs performed.
Plus, a look outside to see when you'll need the shelter or an umbrella. Once again, your focus on the Fresno State forecast when we come back.
I got the bulldog spirit up in my head.
Up in my head.
Up in my head.
I got that bulldog spirit. Up in my head. Up in my head to say. I got that bulldog spirit. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart. Got that bulldog spirit. Deep in my heart. Deep in my heart to stay. I got that bulldog spirit. Down in my toes. Down in my toes. Down in my toes, I got that bulldog spirit. Down in my toes, hey! Down in my toes to stay. I got that bulldog spirit. Up in my head, deep in my heart. Down in my toes, I got that bulldog spirit. All over me to stay. I got that bulldog spirit.
Deep in my heart.
Deep in my heart, deep in my heart. I got that bulldog spirit.
Hi guys, the weather has been incredibly fresh lately. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but behind me, it's super cloudy. We're getting ready for vintage days. I'll let you know a little bit more later on how the weather will be for that. And as we can see for the California satellite, we are seeing some rain up north in sunny Susanville, which could be a reason why we're actually getting this nice, beautiful fresh temperature that we've been getting. And that's what's going on up there. It's raining. Moving on to the actual satellite, in the Great Lake area, we're seeing a lot of pink. That's some slush. It's rain and snow, so that's what they're getting. The pink is a new color that we haven't seen before, which is perfect for spring, pastel pink. And for tonight, it's 46 in Fresno, 45 in Madera, 46 in Visalia, still fresh. Keep those blankets out, you'll definitely need them. Overall, for the air quality, good all across the board. If you like going outside, now's the time to do that. Our allergies are taking a break. Make sure to go outside and breathe in the air. And for our 7-day forecast, 68 today, tomorrow 68 as well. There might be a chance of rain, 20% of that, so just keep a lookout for that. As I mentioned before, vintage days are coming up. 81 for the first day of vintage days, 86 for Sunday. I remember last year it was so hot, I was sweating in places I didn't even know existed. So this year the weather will be great. Make sure to head out for vintage days. And that's your focus on the forecast. Now let's talk to Sean.
Thanks, Mitzi. I'm Sean Bradley with your sports report. The Fresno State football team held its spring showcase this past Saturday at Bulldog Stadium. Players looked quick, energetic, and aggressive when they went through all the various drills and exercises put together by Coach Tedford's staff to help strengthen their ball security. Many players were gearing up for their live scrimmage and 7-on-7 sessions, which were featured in the showcase. The energy and the competition level was high on Saturday, giving Bulldog fans something to look forward to this upcoming season, which kicks off September 1st in a home opener against the Idaho Vandals. By the way, the Oakland Raiders running back Marshawn Lynch showed up to the showcase, which turned out to be a very special experience for everyone there as well. The Diamond Dogs faced off against the Gales of St. Mary's last night. At the bottom of the 5th inning, tied 3-3, senior infielder Colby Batesole hit a single towards midfield, loading up the bases. Then redshirt senior Nick Warren hit a grand slam homer towards left center. The crowd cheers him on as he rounds the bases towards home. There, his hyped teammates shared in the excitement. That electrifying play pulled the Dogs out in front 7-3, where they would eventually secure the lead for the rest of the night. Freshman pitcher Jamison Hill strikes out the Gales batter, retiring the 6th inning. The Dogs will go on to win by a score of 8-5. Joining me today is two-time amateur world boxing champion Mark Castro. Thanks for being here, Mark.
Thanks for having me.
What made you want to pursue your passion for boxing?
Honestly, I really never wanted to box. My dad just had a boxing gym since I was 4 years old. I'll just be there every day after school, and just one day he decided to put me in the ring, and I just never got out.
How much training hours are the rigorous training exercises that you put in each and every week?
It's countless, but for a number in 1 week, maybe at least 30 all together.
Like your idols, Roy Jones Jr., Floyd Mayweather, what's your favorite out of all of them?
Honestly, what all those fighters have in common is Olympians. That's my main goal, to go to the Olympics. And I just want to go to the Olympics. I can't try to be like one of them, because if I try to be like someone else, I'm certainly going to fail. I just got to be like Mark Castro. But main thing, be Olympians exactly like them.
Oh, well, that's good. Thank you, Mark, for being here. Thanks for... one more question would be, Lomachenko, you just, this past Monday, you just sparred with him. How was that experience for you?
It was pretty good. It was a great experience because he's a two-time amateur world champion. I'm no Olympic gold medalist. So he's certainly the best of the best, and it's just it's a very great experience to learn from him and share the ring with him.
Okay. Well, thank you for being here with us today, Mark.
Thank you for having me.
That was Mark Castro, two-time amateur world boxing champion. Now let's check out your entertainment news with Lindsay Hyatt.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Hyatt, and we start your entertainment news hobnobbing with Fresno State President Dr. Joseph Castro. This past weekend, 90.7 KFSR and President Castro came together for the KFSR Jazz and Wine Festival at University House. Guests enjoyed local jazz music, food from the Gibson Farm Market, and even wine made by the Fresno State Winery. President Castro says this annual festival is extremely rewarding.
I think my favorite part is, number one, the weather is perfect. Number two, everybody's working together and having fun, and everybody loves Fresno State.
President Castro says that he and his wife Mary would love to host again the event next year. And break dancers all around Fresno came out this weekend to the Battle for Fresno State Championship round. The top crews from the preliminary round participated in a 3-on-3 B-boy battle for a Fresno State crown and over $1,000 in prize money.
Next week on Fresno State Focus, we'll show you how one elementary school is honoring National Autism Awareness Month.
Plus, see how one Fresno State football player is not only managing a football schedule, but a career in music as well.
Also, the Fresno State baseball and softball teams take their fields. We'll have highlights as the seasons wind down.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.